He has gone from WWE superstar to executive vice president.
I wanted to change all that.
I've always had a good relationship with Vince.
Triple H is head of creative at WWE. According to fans, the product has profited immensely since his takeover. If someone asks you, who's actually in charge at WWE, you don't think of Vince McMahon anymore. You think mainly of Triple H, and that's not by chance. 𝗡𝗙𝗢𝗥𝗚𝗚𝗧, the man behind Triple H, has been planning this for a long time, decades, and he did it cunningly, a true strategist of power.
So freaking mad at me.
He was, on the floor and he felt my leg.
And I found a love letter from Stephanie.
I've done everything it takes to get to the top.
14-time WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
Triple H.
Triple H.
Actually petitioned for me to be fired.
Triple H has proven himself as a wrestler, talent scout, businessman, and creative head of WWE shows. But all of this started much earlier than many think. Triple H was already a successful businessman before he became a wrestler. He regularly visited Gold's Gym in Nashua, New Hampshire, later began working there, took over the gym, and became rich. Until his professional wrestling contract in 1994, he ran the fitness studio. Triple H wanted to take responsibility, and he was good at it. His relentless work ethic, professionalism, and emotional intelligence repeatedly placed him in leadership roles. For success, Triple H also left behind close relationships. He cut off contact with wrestler friends because he felt they didn't take their training seriously enough. He had a long-term girlfriend who was already thinking about marriage, but Triple H broke up to focus on wrestling. He wanted to move on to the next chapter without distractions. The next chapter of his professional success was his breakthrough in wrestling. He delivered in front of the cameras, but also behind the curtain. Triple H was bold. He repeatedly came to Vince McMahon with his booking ideas. He did it so cleverly that Vince entrusted him with creative responsibility. As early as 1997, he worked with Vince McMahon and Vince Russo on key ideas for the Attitude Era. Without Triple H, this wrestling boom period would have been very different. Segments like the DX invasion on Nitro were his idea. Furthermore, he scouted talents early on. When he saw the impressive Chyna, for example, in a gym in 1996, he was impressed by her looks. He persuaded Vince to sign her. At the same time, he also started a romantic relationship with Chyna. 1997, Montreal Screwjob. Bret Hart is cheated out of his title by Vince McMahon and Shawn Michaels. Paul and Shawn were best friends. It is assumed that Triple H knew exactly what was going on. Bret's wife, Julie, confronts him afterward.
Because you guys knew it.
Swear to God.
Knew it from the very beginning. Just forever Sunday, Hunter. What goes around comes around.
Although Triple H shamefully insists here that he had nothing to do with the cheating, it was later proven that he had lied. He was even the one who first suggested the idea. He was the main reason why Vince even considered this solution. Triple H has always been good at choosing sides. Usually he chose the side that brought him more influence in the long run, not Bret's side, but Shawn's. Not WCW's side, but WWE's. And perhaps most notably, not his ex-girlfriend Chyna's side, but that of Stephanie McMahon, the daughter of his boss. Backstage at WWE, employees and wrestlers have long been gossiping about Triple H. He's said to have married Stephanie exactly because she was Vince's daughter. But their love is genuine. They truly fell for each other. Before Triple H was quite popular with other female wrestlers, he was with Chyna, who still raved on how good of a lover he was long after their relationship had ended.
Pretty good lover.
But Stephanie was special. In the eyes of Triple H, she was the most special young woman in the world. Stephanie was strong, confident, articulate, and hot. She took on responsibilities at WWE in her early 20s. On the other hand, Triple H also wanted responsibility. His dream was not to be a second-hand man to Vince McMahon. His dream was to lead the company. Certainly seducing the boss's daughter would have been an attractive prospect for the power-hungry Triple H. Being Stephanie's boyfriend would lend him a unique status in WWE. He wanted that special status. Stephanie's father, Vince, forbade Stephanie from dating wrestlers, but such bans usually have the opposite effect. In conversations, Vince often slipped in a comment that Stephanie should find a man who's like Triple H. Not Triple H himself, but a man who is like Triple H. Triple H has always been drawn to powerful women. He had a 5-year relationship with Chyna. However, the two constantly clashed. Different plans for the future. Triple H wanted children, Chyna didn't. And Chyna's drug addiction was getting worse. The relationship was on the brink of collapse. Triple H just couldn't understand why Chyna kept taking drugs. He himself has a healthy lifestyle. He doesn't drink alcohol, nor does he have any desire for a rush or high. His craving is for power, influence, significance. In personality and social psychology, people like Triple H are called power-oriented individuals. These people are so shaped by the need for power that they subordinate everything else. There are research findings suggesting that these individuals are less prone to risky behaviors like alcohol or drug abuse to avoid jeopardizing their success and influence. An explanation for this is provided by the psychological self-determination theory. Vince McMahon is a power-oriented person, characterized by an authoritarian personality type, dominance, ambition and competitiveness, self-confidence, low tolerance for uncertainty, and risk. All qualities we also find in Triple H. Triple H was still with Chyna when he fell in love with Stephanie. They had a good rapport. Stephanie fell for Triple H because he was very self-assured and charming, because he reminded her of her father, an absolute workhorse. Business is his #1 priority. They just got along very well. When they were booked into a joint love storyline, things took off. Triple H flirted with her in a very special way. At a WWE event, Triple H had a match and Stephanie was at ringside. He was outside the ring, crawling around Stephanie McMahon and stroking her legs.
He sort of crawled around me. He was, on the floor and he felt my leg. And I was like, that's definitely flirtation.
For a year, Triple H was juggling 2 relationships at the same time, still with Chyna, but secretly meeting Steph. Eventually, Chyna found a note from Stephanie in Triple H's wallet.
And I found a love letter from Stephanie that had dated a year back. When I found out, I was devastated, especially when it's with the boss's daughter.
For Chyna, the whole world fell apart. Jim Ross said she never recovered from this heartbreak.
So we got into a heated argument. I told him, I know something's going on. Don't tell me something's not going on. He swiped my hand. I swiped his hand. I knew at that point I had to leave.
Backstage, she began spreading dirty rumors about Triple H. Soon everyone knew he had cheated on her. Even at media events, Triple H was asked about it.
You kind of partway get back together and
You weren't cheating, you're saying?
Yeah, I don't see things the same way she does.
Always sees it that way.
This sparked a power struggle. Vince McMahon was annoyed by the whole relationship drama, especially because his daughter was involved. He had a serious talk with Stephanie and made it clear, you have to stop dating Triple H. Like Romeo and Juliet, their love affair was forbidden by Father Vince.
So he let us come together and then he made us be apart and we came back together again. And if it was meant to be, it was meant to be.
I mean, you're talking about in real life.
Yeah.
Your father said you can be together and then said stop being together and you stopped.
Yep.
Wow. Wow.
But Stephanie and Triple H had grown pretty good at keeping their secret dating life on the hush. Even his relationship with Chyna, Triple H managed to keep secret for a while. He was used to it. Stephanie and Triple H continued to meet. He always gave Steph his hotel room number over the phone. Soon after, his lover would knock, usually in the middle of the night, so that wrestler colleagues wouldn't notice. Meanwhile, Chyna and Stephanie were spreading nasty rumors about each other backstage. Stephanie complained to her father about Chyna's drug addiction and disparaged her publicly. In 2001, WWE parted ways with Chyna. Stephanie was relieved when she was finally gone. Until her death, Chyna claimed Vince had kicked her out because of the relationship drama, because of the rumors Stephanie spread about her. Part of the truth is, however, her contract expired, and it was her choice not to re-sign at a slightly lower salary. July 27th, 2004. A hot summer evening in Los Angeles. Chyna sits tense and nervous on a hard couch in the studio with talk show host Howard Stern. Known for his indiscreet manner, he asks her about her sex life with Triple H, whether they had anal sex. Chyna laughs about it years later, drunk.
I remember when Howard Stern asked me if we did it in the butt, and I said yes. I was like, yeah, we did it in the butt. Hey.
Triple H watches the show and is beside himself.
Calling me and being so freaking mad at me.
Chyna met a sad end. She never found the love and happiness she had with Triple H again. She struggled with depression until she was found dead in her lonely apartment in 2016. She died of a drug overdose, a mix of alcohol, psychotropic drugs, painkillers, and sleeping pills. Triple H and Stephanie married in 2003. They have 3 daughters and are still together. They are made for each other, but rumors circulate about alleged opportunism in the relationship. Triple H would marry Stephanie out of Machiavellian calculation, but whether that's true, fans in forums can't judge at all. Triple H is part of the powerful McMahon family. Brother-in-law Shane doesn't really like him. Stephanie and Vince, on the other hand, love him. As part of the McMahon family, his word carried weight, but his opinions weren't always best for business. In 2002, Triple H pushed for John Cena to be fired. He was too bland, his start wasn't promising, but Vince stuck with Cena and made him into a huge star. Triple H didn't see the potential in CM Punk either. He schemed against him behind the scenes.
He's never liked me ever since when I got my job in 2005. He actually petitioned for me to be fired.
CM Punk wears his heart on his sleeve. He speaks his mind. After leaving WWE, he shot against the McMahons. He said Triple H would constantly kiss Vince's ass, that he would do anything for him. Triple H strives for power like few others, but he also delivers. His career is marked by hard work and perseverance. Many wrestlers behind the curtain say that Triple H is one of the best wrestlers.
You're on the inside. Not only are you banging the boss's daughter,
I've done everything it takes to get to the top and more.
Ask me in about 25 years what his legacy will be.
They tell you you're going to die.
The relationship between Vince and his son-in-law Triple H is very special. Vince likes Triple H and they have a respectful and good rapport with each other. Even before Triple H dated Stephanie, Vince gave him important backstage tasks. This shows how much trust Vince has in him. In interviews, Triple H jokingly says he fell in love with Vince first and then with Stephanie. Vince sleeps about 3 hours a night and spends just about the remainder of the day working. And he expects Triple H to put in a similarly gigantic amount of effort. Anyone who wants to be at the top in WWE has to work from dawn till dusk. This applies to the main eventers in the ring, but also to the higher-ups behind the scenes.
You have to work your ass off harder than everybody else. It's the stuff that nobody sees that you do that makes you successful. To me, it's just you do the work in life and everything else follows.
He was often the first backstage and the first in the gym, while colleagues were still dozing in their hotel rooms with hangovers. Triple H was already giving his all to the sport, sweating at the bench press.
The gym taught me everything you need to succeed in life, which is the harder you work, the more you put in, the more you get out.
This is what surprises WWE colleagues about Triple H. He seems to have the ability to live a completely disciplined life. Nash once said Triple H is the kind of guy who never misses a workout, doesn't smoke or drink, doesn't do drugs, and doesn't struggle with other common vices. This allows him to invest this incredible amount of time in his work. Wake up at 5:30 a.m., breakfast for the kids, pack their lunches, drive the kids to school. Then the workday begins. While Triple H and Stephanie work late into the night, a nanny takes care of their 3 daughters. They try to be back in time to tuck the kids in, then it's off to the gym. Stephanie and Triple H had a hectic schedule at times. In 2016, their pace of life reached unmatched heights. They go to bed at 1 a.m., 4.5 hours of sleep per night, at least one more than Vince McMahon. Vince is Triple H's big promoter and saw great potential in him. He gave him one title after the next, career opportunity after career opportunity, and Triple H took advantage of those opportunities, in the ring as well as backstage. In 2010, he officially moved up the corporate hierarchy when he was appointed Executive Senior Advisor. In 2013, the promotion followed. He now had responsibility for NXT and turned the dull WWE developmental territory into the hottest and best brand of wrestling in the world at times.
When I started, it was hard to get in the business. I wanted to change all that.
He is developing the next crop of WWE superstars.
205 Live United Kingdom Championship
Mae Young Classic.
But Triple H still had a say in the main shows Raw and SmackDown. He and Vince exchanged a lot of ideas about storylines and argued over booking decisions. This often led to conflicts. Vince McMahon was not a proponent of the women's revolution at WWE, but Stephanie and Triple H talked him into it, convinced him to give women a chance, with success.
It was never about treating the women any differently. It was about treating them like the athletes that they are, world-class athletes.
Triple H was often dissatisfied with how Vince haphazardly used his young talents. Many just disappeared into oblivion, and Triple H was annoyed by the untapped potential. Additionally, Triple H stood up for his friends. He wanted his buddy Randy Orton to win against Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam 2016, but Vince ensured that his beast prevailed. The conflicts between the two over the years were numerous, but they always managed to come together. Triple H remained one of Vince's central confidants. In 2020, the next promotion followed. Triple H was given the additional task of establishing further NXT locations worldwide. In 2022, he hung up his boots in the ring and ended his career. Severe health problems followed. When NXT became NXT 2.0, there was a long period where Triple H wasn't backstage because Triple H had almost lost his life. He had serious heart problems, a blockage in his main artery, a common consequence of steroid abuse. Triple H had to have a pacemaker implanted. This interview shows how much it affected him.
If they tell you you're going to die on Tuesday, no one is going to go, well, shit, I have a board meeting on Friday.
After this setback, Triple H recovered. Just as he was feeling better, news came that would change everything.
Breaking news now, the Stone Cold Stunner wrestling fans thought they would never see.
Vince McMahon retiring as chairman and CEO of WWE.
Head of the WWE is out. Retiring!
The allegations against Vince McMahon are serious. Sexual abuse, hush money payments, illegal use of company funds.
$12 billion to 4 women cover up allegations of sexual misconduct and infidelity.
Vince resigned from all offices and appointed Triple H as the new head of creative. This news sent shockwaves through the wrestling world, a positive shockwave, because Triple H, while not everybody's darling, is much more popular than Vince. The result was that many former WWE stars wanted to return to the market leader, especially former NXT wrestlers trained by Triple H himself. Triple H is an excellent mentor. Interpersonally, he has repeatedly shown his knack for handling talents well. He leads much more humanely than Vince. When Vince didn't renew Paige's contract shortly before his departure, she was devastated. In her shock, she called Triple H. He didn't know about it, had nothing to do with it, but she says he was understanding and compassionate. This socially savvy Triple H now runs WWE. Vince rarely appears at the shows backstage anymore. He has been banned from the creative team and has no say in booking regular shows anymore. Vince still took care of the sale to Endeavor, perhaps the last big business decision of his life, because others have now taken his place. Nevertheless, Vince can't do without WWE. He still appears from time to time backstage at selected events. He now moves like an old man. His age is catching up with him. Some wrestlers are confused by this great authority figure who now wanders through the arenas without a purpose. It's a mixture of fear and ominous wonder that they feel. Others look forward to meeting him at work. Brock Lesnar, John Cena, and The Undertaker like to have Vince around, the man who opened so many doors for them. When Vince stepped down, his wife Linda sarcastically said he now had to find a new purpose in life.
Well, you know what? He'll just be deciding on how he's going to spend his free time. I think that's a good thing.
WWE had been his purpose in life for decades, a purpose that consumed everything else, including his marriage. Linda and Vince are still married, but they are very distant. They rarely see each other, haven't lived together for decades. Linda focuses on other projects, is only sporadically involved with WWE. Behind closed doors, it said there was a lot of conflict for a while, but the McMahons were always good at not making family matters public. Accusations that Vince cheated on his wife with other, younger women are not new to her. It's a sad excuse for a marriage, but that's the price Vince paid. He built an empire of power in the business he loves above all else. What about Vince's daughter Stephanie and the head of creative Triple H? They are still married, but they too seem distant at times. Stephanie focuses on the children and other projects and tends not to spend much time actively involved in WWE business. Behind closed doors, it said there was a lot of conflict for a while, but the McMahons were always good at not making family matters public. Triple H rarely invests his time in romantic evenings with Steph. Instead, he invests it in creative meetings and workouts. Still, his wife is very proud of him, and they seem to have a happy family. Paul Levesque is exactly where he wants to be, at the top of the mountain, in the business he loves, above all else.